This high school sociology class is working on a diversity project. They are designing a video conference and will interact with students from other schools in Iowa by using the Iowa Communications Network. The teacher asks her students to define important terms related to this project, such as diversity, culture, and stereotypes.
What's our general definition of diversity?
Differences.
Differences. Differences in what?
Society.
Okay, differences in society. Society in general, individuals.
Gender, age.
Gender is one that we've talked about. Age is one that we've talked about. What else have we talked about?
Religion, beliefs, ideals.
Good, good. We've talked about the religion, the beliefs, the ethnicity, and even the differences as far as urban and rural cultures and the diversity and the differences like you had mentioned, Dave.
The teacher then asks the students to connect their experiences while traveling in other parts of the United States and Europe with those key ideas.
What was your biggest fear when you guys were heading to Europe?
I don't know. The language, I suppose, was one of them. Not understanding, having that, if you didn't know where to go, you'd have to ask directions, and I don't know, not knowing the language, and getting mugged.
Yeah, that was my big one. Hey, you're gonna get mugged over there? Oh, great.
Yeah, they took us on this, had a bunch of stories of when he got mugged, like 3 or 4, and pretty bad ones too. And
yeah.
So you're always worried about losing your wallet and your clothes and everything else.
In what ways were the cultures that all 5 of you experienced like our culture here in rural Iowa?
We were pretty much in big cities, so it was almost in no way like rural Iowa.
Can't even many at all.
You mentioned that the people in France were very helpful and very nice.
I thought you hear how rude they might be. They were really nice to us anyway.
So is that one way that the cultures could be, just in the fact that you're pleasant to strangers and helpful? So that could be a way that we're like. What about the ways that your cultures that you experienced were different from ours?
Definition of diverse would be Amsterdam. Every kind of range of people and from everywhere, every age, every gender. Every combination of people you think of just there.
That's cool.
It's like we think of ourselves as the mixing pot of the world, here in the U.S., and walking around there, it was...
everything you could think of.
Yeah, you name it, it was there.
What about on the streets of Washington, D.C.?
Like right where our hotel was at, it was like all the restaurants and things that were in that area. It was more diversity there. But then as you got closer and closer to Capitol Hill, it kind of, you didn't see as much diversity. It kind of got more to the same.
The teacher helps the students plan the diversity conference using the Iowa Communications Network to connect schools around Iowa.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about this conference. We're going to talk about diversity in schools and how diversity is changing. And you've had some examples in your travels as far as what type of, say, preconceived notions that you had and how they were different once you actually met the people. And I have a feeling you're going to find out the same things as we do this conference. How will you break the ice with these other high schools that we're going to hook up?
Talk about common things in your school, maybe talk about sports or something. So everybody has a general knowledge of it, or what are you guys good at, or how do you guys what your practice is like, or something like that. Or...
Excellent. So you're saying focus on what you have alike before you talk about the differences.
What's in the media, if everybody knows about it, like NBA playoffs, or anything news-oriented that everybody knows about, just so everybody gets into it.
That would be a perfect idea. Perfect idea. Do you think we could learn something in our own lives about that, maybe? When you're meeting new people?
Yeah.
You can apply that. You could apply that real easy, when you have to strike up a conversation, try and talk about things ways that you're alike, instead of right away hitting those differences, because they can cause conflict.
The teacher explains how to use the Iowa Communications Network equipment and how to troubleshoot if there is a problem.
This screen, it'll talk about, it's a touch screen as I touch that. As you touch it, you can flip to the different things. You can show VCR. I have it on the computer. When you have other sites up and when you have your sites pulled up, we talked about the fact that we're going to limit it to 5 to 7 sites. You can go as many as 11 sites. You'll get these little squares, and each square has the name of the school that you're and that site. If you get 11, it's very difficult to switch. And with us being the controlling site, your back TV will be randomly switching from site to site. So you'll be able to see what's going on at all sites. If you get 11, it's too many. If you stay 5 to 7, then it's easier to get the kids involved and actually get people some airtime and get some discussions going. Troubleshooting. Always check your confirmation. And Jennifer, you're going to walk us through that ICN scheduling, so I won't go into that. She's going to show us how to actually schedule the ICN. And the phone numbers. There is a book in this drawer. If you have a problem, you can call any of the ICN sites. You can also, if you're having a system problem, this is we call it the BAT phone. This is a direct line to Johnston. And you can dial them and they'll tell you if it's their problem or if it's your problem.
The students present tutorials to each other for each type of technology that will be needed for the conference.
Okay, the first thing that you want to do when you get a new slide is to add a background, which is at the top button. And you always want to keep your backgrounds the same for every slide for your entire presentation. And you can kind of, where it says conservative, you can click on that and go to different sections and kind of test out different backgrounds.
Why do you think that you would want to keep your backgrounds consistent?
So your fonts don't have problems and people just don't get confused and get your eyes tired, stuff like that.
Right. That continuity is a big thing. If you stay with a similar or the same background on your presentation, then you're going to have that continuity and people are going to know you're in the same presentation.
So once you found a background that you like, just make sure that the little red check mark is on it. And you can just move that by clicking on it. And then hit the OK button.
Here, you have to name your fields, your field names, and that's just going to be your categories of information. Let's see. The only two that we have that we'll be using are the names of our school and where they're located, your addresses. So just type in name for one, enter for create. You create, yeah. Then type in address for another one.
Is there a limit on the number of fields that you can?
Nope. You can do as many as you want.
Oh.
And when you have the two in, just hit done. And that shows one of your, just one little category, one bracket of them. It's just the one record. We're going to need more than one record due to how many schools we have. I'm not sure how many total. How many schools do we have?
Up to 7.
Up to 7. So you'll have 7 records at the end. To do that, to make new records, just hold the open Apple button and hit R. And you'll see them flip through. You can organize your information any way that you like. Alphabetical order, length of characters in the name, anything. So just go to organize at the top and say sort records. And okay, if you want to go alphabetical order by name, just click on name once and then hit move. And that shows your sort order windows on the right, and it shows how it's going to sort it. So you can go descending order or ascending order. We'll just leave it on ascending order and then hit OK. And then it'll organize all your schools alphabetically. See Belmont, then Clarion, then Cal, then Clarion. You can switch the address and the name if you want one of those in first. Just click on the top of the menu on like address. You just click on that and drag it to the left if you want that first ahead of name. You can organize any way that you like.
So you don't have to type in the information in any specific order. You can do that later. So as the schools come in and we get confirmations, then we'll just pop them in. And
you just put in the information and then you can sort it any way that you like later.
Good. Okay. Your tutorials were excellent. They were in language that we understood and we could follow along. It helped that we could actually do it on the machines while you were talking about them. And anytime you're teaching something like that or anything at all, just remember that it's best to actually do it in addition to hearing it, especially on the technology end of it, as on the computer end of it. If you can practice what you're talking about and then actually do it, you'll remember it a lot quicker. In terms of the final project, you will all be experts in your fields, and you will take care of the part of the conference that you are most knowledgeable in. Why do it that way? Why not have everyone do everything?
So everybody's doing their piece.
Okay. Number one, in a group work situation, yeah, it makes sure that everybody's doing their part of the work. Have you been in groups where somebody just kind of sits back and doesn't get their part of the work done?
Might take longer.
It might take longer if we didn't specialize. This is very similar to a factory situation in that you are specializing, or a business situation. You are specializing in a field, you know your field well, and it does cut down. It's more efficient, and that's why businesses do it as well. Why use the technology at all? Why learn all these things to talk about diversity in sociology?
For one, it makes the presentation more interesting. Instead of just sitting up there like looking at a piece of paper and holding up posters or something.
Okay, instead of being a talking head. And the posters are great if you do them well.
Yeah.
This is just what does the ICN allow us?
To communicate with more than one site.
Right, to communicate with multiple sites at once. That's a big key. What else?
Communicate easier, so like we have to take like a whole field trip, like 6 schools have to take a field trip like over here, us over to Sioux City just to talk with them or something. And then we wouldn't be able to use all of our technology.
And that's one of the advantages we have with the ICN is specifically that. If we wanted to go to Sioux City, what kind of time are we looking at? If we wanted to go and visit with the Sioux City diversity team?
Our time is limited because, like, the drive over there and then we have to get back, of course, so we don't get to spend that much time.
Yeah, it really cuts down on the amount of time that you'd spend most of your time on the road.